Good afternoon, United fans and football fans watching in. This is Forever United TV. If you are a United fan, are you happy with the news circulating today that Victor Osimhen wants to come to United? We're going to look into that news and see if it's real or not. We'll give our opinions on it. There's a load of other news coming out as well. And we're going to do all of this before we go into a live press conference reaction to Ruben Amorim today ahead of that game. Tomorrow night's crunch game against Ipswich. I say crunch game because, of course, United just need a bleeding win. And that's why it's a crunch game. A win at Old Trafford would be nice one of these days, please, Reds. But yes, we have plenty to talk about before that comes in. So everyone is getting prepped and readied at Carrington right now for Ruben Amorim. Maybe he's going to be asked questions regarding what is happening around United, all the job cuts, the meeting on Monday, so on and so forth. We have got a bit of that to talk about in the show as well today, and the aftermath of that meeting. Some more interesting facts coming out as well. We're going to talk about all of the all of the quotes from Christian Eriksen. He has been talking to the club as well. His last few months at the club, obviously, as well. We'll get into a little bit of that if we've got time to, but we have plenty to discuss first of all, and I want all of your live comments and reaction in on the possibility and the rumour going around today, and I'm going to talk about where this rumour has come from, that Victor Osimhen has set his sights on the Manchester United move this summer. It is an apparent, very reliable source from over in Turkey, and there's a lot of accounts going in on this. There was some news yesterday spreading and doing the rounds that Victor Osimhen 95% done to Manchester United. I didn't go near it because I didn't think it was real, and I'm not going to take anything from a sort of business sector account, which it was, that was saying it as gospel, that Victor Osimhen wants to come to United. So, yeah, with this and what's happened today, and a lot of people now reporting on it as well, we are going to discuss it and decide amongst ourselves whether we think this is actually real. I mean, let's be honest. First of all, Victor Osimhen to Manchester United, I like it. I like it. It's basically, for us, a perfect signing. I still don't believe, personally, for me, that United have got the funds, and with what we've been discussing over the last few days, can afford to make this deal happen. Obviously, I know we can sell players, like I said, but I still feel there is a lot of players that need to go to be buying players like Osimhen. And Manchester United do need to appeal to Victor Osimhen as well. There is a chance that he's not going to be playing European football in the summer. And where negotiating now is great and good, and it looks like an appealing prospect for Victor Osimhen, of course, is he going to change his mind towards the back end of the season when United are not in Europe at all? He's going into his 26. He's going to his late 20s. If he's going to be contracted into Manchester United with no sign of anything looking any better in the future for this football club, is it a smart move for him? So do we take this seriously? Is he fully committed to Manchester United and willing to miss out on European football? That's the question I ask, and that's why I'm still sceptical about this actually being true. But there are sources that are saying that this is real. Victor Osimhen wants Manchester United. It's as simple as that. This pretty much is a done deal, a lot of people are saying. Now, I'm going to get into all of the reports and everything that has been said around this, first of all, and then we'll discuss it amongst ourselves. So, Victor Osimhen wants to join Manchester United. That's the basic headline coming from it. Now, the account saying this has come from Yagis Sabagulu. I think that's how you say it. Sabungulu. He's a Turkish journalist, tier 1, most reliable, apparently, journalist in Turkey when it comes to news. Obviously, Victor Osimhen is over in Galatasaray in Istanbul at the moment, playing his trade there, doing very well, of course, as we know. And that's why this story has started to gather legs this afternoon, because it's coming from a Turkey-based journalist who is very reliable, has a huge following, not that that matters or anything like that, but most of the Manchester United aggregator accounts are reporting and running with this right now. Some of them backing themselves up from what was said yesterday regarding the 95% done deal side of things from the business sector tweet that went out yesterday, and I'm happy. I'm happy if this is happening. Like, look, with everything else going on, what we cannot do and what we cannot forget is the most important thing is the football at Manchester United. We need to be seeing a better brand of football. Does Victor Osimhen come in and make Manchester United better? Yes, 100%. He makes Manchester United better, without question he does. Is there bigger things in play at Manchester United at the moment? Yes, of course there is. There are people losing their jobs. There are considerable debt issues at Manchester United, staggering debt issues at the club. The future of the club is being brought into question as well. We are going to talk about that as well in a moment from what happened after the meetings on Monday. But Victor Osimhen, Manchester United, when good players are linked with the club and it looks like there is a possibility that they could come in, you add to this the Quando situation, which we was talking about vaguely this morning, and whether that could happen. That's looking promising. Obviously, Ben Jacobs saying that the conversation with Jorge Mendes, his agents, obviously has done a lot of business for Manchester United. He's confident that this deal can get done, and United could, in fact, get the transfer over the line, as in pre-contract agreement before the season ends. That's where we're at with that. Could Osimhen be the same? I don't know, but I know we're looking at him. Romano has said that United want Victor Osimhen. Osimhen apparently now has come out and said that he wants to move to Manchester United. Whether or not there will be a deal with Napoli on this, in terms of a player going the other way, maybe, we don't know. Are they still going to be in the market for Garnacho come the summer? This all may fall into place for Manchester United on that line of things, but I think what you've got to look at is, in all of this, is like what I said at the start. How the hell have Manchester United managed to convince Victor Osimhen to come out and say he wants to move to Manchester United with no guarantee of top-level football? Yes, you play in front of 75,000 fans every other week. Yes, you're playing in the hardest league and the most competitive league in the world in the Premier League, but you're not competing for it. Does he want to be part of taking United back to the top? Is he a Manchester United fan? Well, we know he is a Manchester United supporter. We've seen it with the Igalo side of things and that connection there. Maybe there are people pushing him towards United. Maybe they're trying to convince him that United are now going in a different direction. This is a new Manchester United. You could be the spearhead for Manchester United's next success. I've said this before in trying to sell every player. As a United fan, I feel like I'm just talking myself into deals right now and thinking, how is this player actually thinking that this is the right move? How are United actually materialising things? What is happening? How are they manifesting these things? I don't know. I'm trying to talk myself into this deal actually happening, but I've still got all of that scepticism at the back of my mind going, no, surely not. As a player, maybe he's fed up of going to clubs that he feels, I'm guessing, haven't got his best interest at heart. Maybe he feels he wants to be part of a project and go to Manchester United and feels like that is the biggest club in England still, because that lure is still there for players. Of course, we know it is. Maybe United are offering him the better package. I can't see that happening either. So whichever way you look at this, it's like, for instance, no European football, you automatically think, oh, he must be getting a big pay packet. Well, we know that that's not going to happen with Ineos. They're not going to pay anyone substantial money. They're trying to get rid of players on stupid, ridiculous money. And that we don't need to do any recruitment with Victor Osimhen in terms of what he is, what he does. We have seen him in every club that he's been at, and notably, obviously, Napoli and Galatasaray now, in recent years. He's an excellent striker. Dynamic, fast, quick, great in the air. He offers everything that we haven't got right now. And that is one of the elite strikers that is out there right now. Everything being said, like, I can't see Ineos giving him a big wage. I'm not convinced he wants to come and not play European football. There's a lot there. Maybe within that contract there is a release clause if United are not back in Europe by a certain amount of time, i.e. by 2 years into his contract at United he turns 27, and then obviously if we're not in Europe then there is an option where he can look elsewhere. United are not progressing. Maybe, but I still feel he's going to be one of these players that demands at least 200k a week. Whether Ineos will go there, whether they'll push the boat out, he is better than anything we've got right now, but Ineos have to be very, very careful. We're off the back of, and this is why I wanted to bring in everything that's happened on Monday, the cuts, the debt, and everything like that. Ineos need to be careful with what they're doing right now. We are seen to be trying to get rid of everybody and all of the failures from the Glazer years. They need to be 100% on this deal if they're going to offer Osimhen a contract, because he's not going to come, I don't think. It's going to be over 200 grand a week wages. It has to be for Osimhen. I think that's what he'll be driving. And I'm only guessing. I'm only going off what the agents work with these days, what he's expecting, his level of performance, and what grade he actually is as a striker. He is top. He is one of the best out there. If United don't get him, he will go to another top club, and it will be in the Champions League. So what are we going to offer him that's going to make him make this move? That, I think, is where we're actually at right now with this deal. But that is the news, just to round it up there in terms of what it is. Several clubs who have bought Manchester United players are considering offering money up front to have clauses removed. That's from Mike McGrath. That's just come out now as well. I'm just reading that again just to make sure I've got that right. Several clubs who have bought Manchester United players are considering offering money up front to have clauses removed. I'm not sure what that means. I'll have to read into that a little bit more. Players who've bought clubs that have bought Manchester United players. But yeah, I mean, this is apparently tier 1. This is genuine. This is real, coming from the Turkey side of thing, and it's only really relevant because that's where Victor Osimhen is playing at the moment. He's over in Istanbul. He's over in the Turkish Super League. So that is why we're talking about this right now. I have put a poll up in the chat for everybody to get involved in as well, which is: do you believe the story breaking today that Victor Osimhen wants to come to United? 41% of you have said yes, 59% of you have said no so far. Keep voting on that poll, everybody, please. And that pretty much tells you where the United fan base is at. We need a lot of convincing with everything that's going on right now. We're not going to jump onto a rumour from a Turkish journalist, albeit tier 1, from what's been said. I get it. I understand that United are obviously, or could be in for the player. What you've got to look at with this is, I feel, is the whole package. You have to look at Osimhen, where he is, what age he is, what he wants. Are you convinced that he's going to come to Manchester United? I fully expect Fabrizio Romano to probably come out later on and just kibosh the whole thing again on his own YouTube channel or something like that. So we will see. We will see how it pans out through the rest of the day. But interesting, I want to get your thoughts. So get your comments in on this now, everybody. Let me know what you feel about this. Are you convinced that this is actually happening? Please give the video a like as well. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel also, everybody. Really appreciate you all being in. We're a little bit earlier today. We are doing the press conference. We're going into that in detail. That is going to be coming up in just under 30 minutes time. So it's an extended live show today, everybody. So get involved in the chat. It's fully interactive. How did Chelsea do it with players that they have signed recently in terms of money or signing them, Joe? It will be through PSR loopholes, signing academy players, selling hotels, selling women teams' rights, getting revenues in from different sources, basically, is what they are doing. Let's see what we've got here. Chris says Osimhen will go to Saudi. No one else will pay the money he allegedly wants. He obviously hasn't heard United are skint. We will see, won't we? Again, I totally get why people don't think this is going to happen, though. 100%. We can only go off what's been said and what's been reported, and I do feel like we are jumping onto everything we can that is positive right now, and this would be a massive deal for Manchester United. This would be a huge deal for Manchester United. I mean, there's one account here that I'm just going to read out right now, which says Victor Osimhen move to Manchester United is 95% completed, with the Red Devils reportedly willing to pay his 75 million release clause. That's in euros. That was from Business Day NG. That was the one from yesterday. Then today, and this is their writing on their accounts, Victor Osimhen wants to join Manchester United, courtesy of Yagis Sabunkulu. I don't know if that is right. Looks like Osimhen is on his way to Manchester United this summer, and we're finally going to have a proper striker in our squad. And that's bullish. It's confident. That's what's going around all of social media right now, and what people are saying about it on different aggregator accounts and personal accounts. Everyone's having their say on it. Like I said before, I'm open to the idea, and you all know that I would love Victor Osimhen to be in Manchester United's side. I would love him to be in our squad next season. I think he's an outstanding striker and is a massive upgrade on what we actually already have. But I still don't see how we make this deal happen. That is where we're at right now. I look at it and I go, I'm not fully convinced that he would come to United in the condition and the state that this club is in. Look, if United win the FA Cup, we're in the Europa League. That may have a bearing on what happens. Maybe he wants to come to United, but only if we're in Europe. I don't know if that will come about. We're not going to know the full details of everything. But all he would have to say for someone to run with this report is, yes, I want to go to United. And then the story would get spread like wildfire and everybody would be talking about, he wants to come. Yeah, he may want to come to United, but he might not want to come to Manchester United if certain things are not going on at Manchester United, if you get what I mean. Like, so him saying he wants to come to United, it could just be him saying, I'll go to United, but only if. I'll go to United, but if we're in this competition or I'm on this amount of money. That's all he's had to say. And of course, you would probably get that from every single player who has been linked with Manchester United. Yeah, I'll go to United. I want to go United. Whoa, there's a headline. Bang, bang, bang. Out it goes the next day. I want to go to United. That's what could have happened today. That could be the other side of it. It's all a load of crap, says Stephen. The club is rotten to the core. This is what I'm finding at the moment. People are just not convinced by anything that's said by Manchester United right now. The fan base is done. Honestly, it feels like the fan base is done. I mean, I set up this live stream today, and I've already had people absolutely slating me for lying and all sorts. I'm like, I'm just saying what the news is. I'm just stating what's actually out there. Look, I'm happy to run with any positive that we've got right now at Manchester United, but even I am struggling to find anything that's upbeat. I'm hoping Ruben Amorim can give us a little bit of an injury update in the press conference on the show live today and give us some good news about what's happening at Manchester United. Honestly, I'm clinging on to anything I can possibly get. And this story, as much as I don't believe it, I feel like it's good to actually talk about something that might be positive, even though it might not happen. Look, I know that Manchester United in the summer, and I said this earlier on today, I've not got a lot of money to spend. We haven't. We know this. We're struggling to sell Rasmus Højlund. We want to get rid of Mason Mount, but nobody's going to take these players. So how do deals like this happen? Well, you obviously use what you've got. And that, like I've said before, will be Manchester United selling players that the club, that the fans don't think we should be selling. But really, when you look at the situation, we have to sell. And that's where it's always going to be with me. That's my stance on anything happening this summer. And I'm not going to be convinced by stories. I'm not going to be convinced by definites. And this is 100% happening or 95% going through. I know where we're at. And I'm not convinced by anything like you lot as well. But right now, what we have got to say is that we know Ineos are not afraid to make moves. We know Ineos are not afraid to shake things up. And that just may be what happens in the summer with the playing staff in terms of players that are leaving the football club. Let's see on this one as well. Let's get a few more comments on this. I don't see this happening, Adam. I believe it's just news to keep the fans engaged. A way of distracting us from chaos that is crippling our club. And again, there you go. Anthony, prime example there of fans never being convinced by anything that comes out of this football club anymore. Not being convinced by any story that comes out, no matter how positive it is. The only thing I'm going to be 100% behind or feel like is genuine is anything that comes from the academy side of things right now. I think that's where my head is at. That's where I am with any sort of news. That's the best positive we can get from Manchester United, I feel. Let's get some more comments on this. Afternoon, Adam. Afternoon to you, Realist. I hope you're doing well. Facts. We'll never get money from these duds. Time to move on. The likes of Bruno and Rashford and Dalot and Harry, etc. for the sake of the club. Well, Harry's not going to go because he's not worth anything. And United can't afford to let him go now on that triggered last year. Bruno Fernandes is never going to go because he's the only one that can turn anything out at the moment in terms of goals or assists, even though he hasn't been playing well, which I agree with. It is time to move past them, and in 2 years, I think we will be moving past Bruno Fernandes. But honestly, right now, you cannot afford to get rid of Bruno Fernandes. And I don't think United or the manager is in any position to want him to be out of the door. Adam, I got myself a ticket for the Arsenal game and another ticket for Jack for United. No way a few seasons back could you pick up Arsenal game tickets. The cracks in the fan support are getting bigger. Question is, Jonathan, are you going to walk out? Are you going to walk out? But the fact that you could get an Arsenal home ticket, Jonathan, you are 100% right, my friend. That never happens. So Jonathan, who is just a member of Manchester United, has managed to get 2 Arsenal tickets. Arsenal at Old Trafford was a Tier 1 game, a Grade A, Tier A game as they marked it. So when you're a season ticket holder or a member, there are tiered games. Your Arsenal, City, Liverpool, these sorts of games will always be big Tier 1 games, like Chelsea. I think Spurs are in there as well. Like top 6, they're the ones that you don't ever stand the chance of getting. Jonathan's just picked up 2 tickets. That tells you everything, that the fans are giving up. But it would only make an impact. And like I've said at the moment, I'm happy to be not in that stadium for the Arsenal game. I've said it, I will back it, but I will need other fans to actually do it as well. And that's the worry in mind, because I will do it. I will take that hit, no problem, for supporting the club and not going to that game and making a statement. I'm not particularly bothered about protests. I've done them all before. I know that they do absolutely nothing. It's just a way of getting the fan base together and everyone just being as one. And I'm all for them. I think they are good for the fans. They really are. It just shows you how strong the Man United fan base is with the protest. But in terms of Ineos and them signs, I've seen them all over social media saying full sale only. Look, United are not going to be sold by Ineos or the Glazers. I think people just need to realise this. What we can do is make change elsewhere. And that only comes in what happens inside the stadium. And unfortunately, I don't think there's enough fans that are willing to do it. They're stuck because of their love for the football club. And you can't hold that against the fans either. They want to watch their football. And that's where they have us. That's where they have us. But, yeah. I want to move on the other news as well. We have got Ruben Amorims Press Conference coming up, everybody. So don't worry, that is all still to come. It is an extended show today. If you feel like you've missed any part of the show, we've just been covering the Victor Osimhen news, which is circulating this lunchtime, that he has apparently come out and said via a Tier 1 Turkish journalist over there in Turkey right now, saying he wants to come to United this summer. He's got his heart set on United. Now, whether it happens or not, we will see. But there is more and more noises coming out about Osimhen at the moment. United apparently are willing to spend 62 million on him, but not 62 million on Gyökeres, as stated by The Athletic. And it's The Athletic where I want to move to next, because they've been coming out with more details on Manchester United's meeting on Monday and what happened with the so-called Cutgate. There was a video section sent over to the London offices. Now, we've talked about that. So the London offices were watching everything on film, what was happening at Old Trafford. Manchester United's women's team coach, Matt Skinner, was there with other members of the women's team as well, and their setup. No one from Manchester United's first team was at this meeting, though. All staff had to go. That was the word yesterday. All staff had to go. The interesting line from this, for me, more than any other that I see, was the piece that was in The Athletic that was talking about, I'm going to bring it up right now so you know, the piece in The Athletic which was stating that Manchester United's calculations, everything else that has been said, everything that's come out, is to basically be in line with being in the Europa League. So what I mean by that is, at Monday's meeting, this was from The Athletic, at Monday's meeting it was mentioned that the cost and savings associated with the measures have been calculated assuming Manchester United qualify for the Europa League. Not the Champions League, the Europa League, within the next 4 years. So, let's get this right. Mission 21 came out saying that Manchester United were going to win the Premier League in 2028. It's near enough 3 years from now. That's what they're saying. Now, these measures that are being put in place today, and this has come from The Athletic, and this is how I'm reading it. So Manchester United, all of the staff cuts, the necessary cuts, the budgeting, the food, the match date, the corporate reshake up, everything like that at Manchester United has been calculated in alongside United being in the Europa League for the next 4 seasons. So if we're in the Europa League the next 4 seasons, that means that we're not winning the league in the next 4 seasons. So that's where their calculations are at. So it's a bit of a contrast and a contradiction on the Mission 21 statement and all of that bollocks. But that for me is concerning alone, that they're actually expecting Manchester United to be in the Europa League. So if we're not in the Europa League, does this get worse? You can see where I'm going, because right now we're smack bang 15th in the league table with no chance of getting anywhere near the top half of the table. They are solely reliant on Manchester United doing what they did last season in winning the FA Cup. It's like winning a cup is a guarantee at Manchester United now. We've only done it the last 2 seasons, and that's because we had favourable draws. Yeah, we beat City and Liverpool in getting to lifting that FA Cup last season, but we had Liverpool at home, where we've always got an alright record in the Cups, and we had City, which we prepared for as a one-off game and everybody turned up. And we got a little bit lucky in that season to get that trophy. So United's whole process and Ineos's and the club's new direction is based off this team making it into the Europa League and being in the Europa League for the next 4 seasons. That's what the calculation, the figures, the savings, the necessary cuts, everything that United and Ineos are doing right now that we're talking about over these last few days is all based around the assumption that United will be in the Europa League. That's concerning for me, just to think that we are going to be, in the Europa League on its own. It's absolutely ludicrous. It really is. Those in the Manchester United London office followed events yesterday's club-wide meeting at Old Trafford together on a big screen, as video conferencing links were not sent out in order to counteract leaks. So there was no video link sent out. Everybody in the London office had to watch it on one screen, just so everybody could watch it at the same time and no one could leak anything out on a separate device or anything like that. I mean, seriously, it just goes to show where we're actually at right now, doesn't it? It really does. The cold way of implementing the transformation plan at Manchester United by Ineos is eroding togetherness, leading to a situation with morale at its lowest, which, as Ruben Amorim admitted, affects the environment. That coming from Sky. Several clubs who have, and this has just come out again, this is the one I was just talking about before from Mike McGrath from the Telegraph, who says, several clubs who have bought players from Manchester United are considering making a proposal to the club to remove clauses included in transfers, such as the percentage on sale, which would allow them to make more money in the long term and Manchester United to have an immediate cash flow. So, in terms of players that Manchester United have sold, i.e. what we did in the summer, you could think maybe Marseille for Mason Greenwood, Willy Cambuala for Villarreal, I'm guessing a few, Napoli for Scott McTominay. I think Manchester United have put clauses into every player's contract, and we know a big one is Alvaro Fernandez. So the situation is, from what Mike McGrath's saying from the Telegraph, is that them clauses that Manchester United put in place on these players in terms of sell-on, buybacks and all of that we've talked about quite in depth over the last few months, they're looking to make an offer to Manchester United to take them clauses out of them deals. So pay them now, and then United have no future sale or any benefit from anything that club does with that player they bought from Manchester United. I'm pretty certain that's what we're looking at with that one there. And that is an interesting point, actually, in everything that's going on right now. In terms of another piece from The Athletic on the Dan Ashworth side of things as well. Before Dan Ashworth was let go, Radcliffe asked Ashworth to make cuts to the Manchester United football operations, only for the former Newcastle executive to be reluctant to dispense with any staff in his department. I.e., you didn't do what the boss wanted, and he sacked you, and it's cost the football club massively. That basically is where that situation is at. That, for me, is now where United are dealing with everything. And this is why the staff have always got that argument. It's like with Manchester United told Manchester United staff to be quiet. Like, obviously, we want this to be kept under wraps. We don't want any leaks going out. They're basically just going to say, yeah, sorry, no thank you. That ain't happening. And I think that ultimately is where everything is at right now. When you look at the situation that United are in and where we're actually at, Glazers, Ineos, I'm going to come to the comment section in a moment. So, by the way, just to keep you updated, we have talked about Osimhen already. We may go back on that. If you are just joining us, welcome along. Please give the video a like. We are just going through some of the aftermath on the big report from The Athletic on the meeting that happened at Old Trafford and what's to come of it. When you look at what the Glazers have done at Manchester United, for instance, 730 million long-standing debt. That's what the club's debt is right now. 300 million transfer debt in terms of players that we still haven't paid for in full, that we've got instalments going on. 166 million taken in dividends from the Glazers. 1 billion in interest repayments from that debt. 10 plus years of poor recruitment, players on huge contracts, lack of strategic planning / vision, stagnation of income streams, Sir Alex Ferguson retainer, consecutive losses, blah, 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 blah. That is the Glazers on their own. Problems from Ineos. 250 job cuts, 200 more job cuts, efforts to offload youth players, ticket price rises, the problems that they are causing on their own, problems that obviously they're dealing with because of the Glazers, then things that Ineos have done on their own. So Ineos, no matter what we try and do, say, I've seen a lot of people saying that are defending Ineos in a way that they aren't as bad as the Glazers. Look, they're not going to be as bad as the Glazers, but what Ineos are doing right now in the fan base's eyes, this is what I've said before, is they're facilitating the Glazers still staying at Manchester United. And that's all they care about. You're not going to convince United fans, hardcore fans, that Ineos are any good because they've come in and they've got in bed with the Glazers. Besides the Glazers, what have Ineos done so far? Well, they've caused chaos. Absolute chaos. And the unrest within Manchester United is because of what? Ten Hag extended contract. Shopping for Ten Hag, 200 million. Ten Hag being sacked then, 11 million. Amorim appointed, another 10 million. Dan Ashworth recruited for 3 million. Dan Ashworth sacked, 2 million. And now you're cutting corners. I've seen a great piece that Rio Ferdinand did with Kieran Maguire, football finance expert, and he was saying it's got whatever Ineos are doing right now, it's not going to have any impact on the wider scheme of things in terms of Manchester United's debt and where the club is actually at. It's not got nothing to do with it at all, and it's not going to impact it in any way. They can say that they're going to save a certain amount of money here and a certain amount of money there, but it isn't really going to do anything at all. What it is going to do is streamline it. They are running Manchester United like they have done with their industrial businesses before. This has never been done on a football giant level, as in a football club like Manchester United. Yes, United make a lot of money, but this is a football club too, and they are taking the heart and soul out of Manchester United and doing what they're doing right now. And that's what Kieran Maguire, football finance expert, is saying. And on that podcast with Rio Ferdinand, he was explaining how all of these minor cuts don't really have an impact on anything at Manchester United. And they're covering it up with PSR. That basically is what he was saying. They're using PSR to do what they want to do right now and cut everything they possibly can. They see this in what they've done before, working at Manchester United. The fact is, it doesn't matter what you do with the smaller staff and the smaller people. The only thing that matters is the players, the recruitment, United winning, United on a reasonable budget in terms of wages. I mean, United's wage bill is the third highest in the league. Calculations are stating that they may go down to fifth with the so-called rumours of players supposedly leaving in the summer. So if your Antonys, your Rashfords, your Casemiros, and some of these players start leaving, obviously Lindelof, Eriksen, Evans, Heaton, all of these players going. Obviously, we're going to bring more players in, but it's calculated United could be down as far as fifth in terms of wage bill in the Premier League, which is the lowest we've been in decades in terms of players. That's what it's expected to be. That's not a definite or a guarantee, but we lie third right now behind Arsenal and Manchester City, who are 1 and 2. United need to bring that down. They need to get better players in. They need to be bringing in revenues from Champions League and the Premier League at a higher level. And obviously, they need to be sustainable. They need to be consistent in that to get the better brand and sponsorship deals in. All this to bide their time to get to that stadium build when they will make a fortune off the sale of land in and around Old Trafford with the new project and infrastructure plan to go in and around the Trafford Wharf, Trafford Way, Salford Quays area around Old Trafford, to then have enough money to say, look, right, okay, we have got a new stadium here. We want you to invest into it. This is to other buyers coming in. We want you to invest into this stadium. We want you to be part of this big project. If there's hotels, 5-star hotels, casinos and all sorts going on in and around Trafford Wharf and Salford Quays, then it's easy to get investors to come in and buy into a stadium. It looks like a huge project with everybody behind it, and investors would be willing to go in for that. So everything that they're doing right now is to buy time to get into that level, to get into the stadium. By then, Ineos probably want to have leveraged the stadium off, like I said this morning, to move the Glazers out. That's their play in all of this. And we'll see if that comes about, but generally, I think I've just covered everything possible there. We are only a few moments away from Ruben Amorim's press conference as well, everybody, so we will be bringing that up as well. In terms of the bid from Qatar and people saying full sale only and everything like that, the thing is with this is how far do you want to go? Do you want to believe in what's actually been said? Do you want to believe that the Qataris were actually real? In everything that's been said, in all of this, there is factual stuff out there. And when you look at it, Sheikh Jassim was asked to prove if he had the funds to purchase Manchester United. This is reported factually in the SEC filings made by Manchester United. These are legal documents freely available for you to read online. And it's up to you whether you believe in everything that has been said. In these factual documents that everybody can read into, apparently Sheikh Jassim could not prove he had the funds. So it's two sides to the story yet again. And there's so much contrasting reports. I think the overall hate for the Glazers and Ineos right now is taking over everyone. And do you know what? Like, I'm not saying that Sheikh Jassim wasn't real or anything like that. I'm not saying that he didn't have the money, but the reports are saying he didn't. So what are we supposed to believe? What are we supposed to believe? All we want is Manchester United to be successful, running properly, investment coming in the right areas, and the football club to actually want to be behind, because the disconnect between the fans and this team at the moment is the worst I've ever known it. And the point was proven just there a moment ago in the chat when Jonathan came out and said, as a member, he's been able to buy tickets for the Arsenal-Manchester United game at Old Trafford, which in yesteryears and any season before has been nigh on impossible. The fact that he's managed to get tickets on open sale for members tells you everything you need to know. That fans are giving up on this football club. They can't be asked watching this team. They probably know that United will get beat against Arsenal because they cannot be asked putting up a fight, or they're not good enough to put up a fight. That's how the fans feel. We just need the right investment in and someone proper to run this football club. Otherwise, I don't know where we go from here. I don't know how Manchester United survive all of this. But we'll see. Makes you laugh that the regeneration of the area is promoted as giving all these jobs to the area, only for the club to cut 450 jobs beforehand. Look, I don't think Manchester United are going to be investing anything into the area and the so-called project around it. That's all done. Yeah, there is a club element to it, but still, that's not going to cost anything for Manchester United in the short term in getting to that stage. By then, they're hoping to be well down the road with the plans for the stadium. I wonder if they're even going to risk actually announcing the stadium plans like they said they was going to in spring. That's going to be interesting, because what you have got is you've got literally, what have you got now? You've got season ticket prices that are going to go up very, very soon. at Old Trafford. If a new stadium goes in, you can only imagine what the tickets are going to be at Old Trafford for the new stadium. My God, it's going to be absolutely extortionate, isn't it? So, yeah, looking at everything that's in play right now, I think Ineos are looking at it as a long-term plan. They're not going to go anywhere. And it's going to take someone to come in with an astronomical bid to take them out of play right now. The Glazers won't move unless they get absolute boosters as well. And who has got that money? Who has got that money to buy Manchester United out? You've now got two people in place at this football club that don't want to move. And it's just a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Cheers for all the likes coming in, everybody. Keep them firing in, everyone. Please do make sure you've also hit that subscribe button as well to miss out on no content. We have everything covered from on the pitch to off the pitch. We're covering the press conference in just a moment's time as well. That is coming up in just a moment. In fact, 2 minutes before we start to hear from Ruben Amorim himself. So we'll bring you all of them quotes as they come up. And yeah, we will get hopefully some updates on injured players, maybe some people coming back. Something positive, please, Ruben. That would be nice. That would be nice. It'd be interesting to see if he's quizzed on all of the cuts and everything again, won't it? Because he has spoken about this before. Last time he was asked a question on this, it was like you can feel it in the environment around Manchester United. People are losing their jobs. It's affecting the environment. And that is down to the first team squad. We are responsible for people losing their jobs because the team is underperforming on the pitch. And there's a lot of pressure to put on these players. And you would have thought that United would have gone out and been as professional as possible in that game against Everton. A couple of players were, and they dragged us over the line. But the rest of the team, my God. If we play against Ipswich the same way, and we play nervously at Old Trafford, they've got a free hit. They're coming to Old Trafford for a ball. They're not bothered right now. They're not expected to take anything from Old Trafford. So Ipswich come to Old Trafford fully confident that they can get the win. And if United turn up like they did against against Everton, we're going to get rolled over again. That's what's going to happen. Anyway, the embargo has been lifted and we're about to get the quotes from Ruben Amorim's press conference through in any moment now. So bear with us on that and keep your comments coming in, everybody. Let's get a few more in there before. Anthony Wisdom has just gifted a membership. That's gone to Pablo. Thank you for that, Anthony. I love that. Excuse me. Long extended lunchtime show today, everybody. We've covered the Osimhen news. We've covered the aftermath of that meeting with the staff, the plans, what Ineos are doing, everything that's going on at Manchester United so far today. We're also going to get into the press conference now as these quotes come out from our man Ruben, the man in the hot seat right now, the only one who's doing any talking, it would seem. It'd be nice to hear from Manchester United CEO every now and then, wouldn't it? I know Omar Brado has done a lot of work since he's come in. He's done a lot more, and the whole structure has done a lot more compared to what the Glazers have done. But the fact that it's all been pretty negative, the majority of it's been negative, has just set the tone. That's it. Okay, thanks for that, Ruben. Straight out of the bag. Team news. Excuse me. Team news for United. I think it's the same. Nobody's recovering for this game. They are improving. Oh, God, Ruben, that was quite... Obviously, I'm not listening to the press conference right now. I'm going off the quotes from earlier on. It just sounds like he's just saying things straight right now. You can always sort of gauge with Ruben Amorim in terms of his body language, how he speaks, how he comes across with these quotes and comments from questions from the media, how he actually is. And that there... it's the same in terms of players that are available. So we're going to have the same squad as we did for Everton. That's to kickstart the press conference so far. That's what we was hoping for, to getting new. I think, who was it? It was Toby Collier that might have been the only one that might have made it back into Manchester United squad. We're getting no updates on Luke Shaw. We're getting no updates on Mason Mount. Obviously, we know that Leach is going to be back next year, it would seem, which is drastically bad news for United. But again, like, remember when we said, remember when the news came out about Luke Shaw being injured again? And then everyone came out. All the journalists came out saying, it's just a minor setback. Luke Shaw is expected to be back in training. How many weeks on are we now from that? I think it's a minimum 3 weeks from there, isn't it? And yeah, nothing has happened. No updates, jack shit. Nothing at all about Luke Shaw. Mason Mount was supposedly 10 weeks when he first went out against Manchester City in December. Nothing. No updates. Nout. No recovery. No return dates. Garbage. Again. Nightmare. Amorim on United's Old Trafford struggles. Talking about the form at Old Trafford in the league in particular, I'm guessing. Since I arrived, when I took the job, I expected to win all the games at home. I don't feel the pressure. The supporters are amazing. And every time you go to one game at Old Trafford, you feel the support until the end. It is a new game. It can be a new story. So let's go forward for the game. Yeah, it just sounds like he's talking and saying the necessary things right now more than anything there, Ruben Amorim, with what he's saying. Like, he expected to win. When I arrived, I took the job. I expected to win all the games at home. I don't feel the pressure. The supporters are amazing, and every time you go into one game at Old Trafford, you feel the support until the end. That's normal. It is a new game, can be a new story, so let's go forward for the game. Yeah, not confident still. It's not going to do it for me. It's not going to do it for me. In talking about his struggles with pressing against Everton as well, it's hard to when we see the game, and I know you guys know, and even the players know, we had a lack of intensity. Why though? We improved not a lot in the second half, but the small things of the second balls, we didn't lose things without so much pressure. We were more aggressive with the ball. We changed the energy. Basically saying, like he did after the game against Everton, look, he wasn't going to change any shape or formation. He was going to do things exactly how they trained the previous week to the Everton game. They just have to get better. But when he's been asked about the pressure and Manchester United there, I think it's hard when we see the game, and I know, you guys know, and even the players know, we lack intensity. That there is that's a damning line on its own, because how can you not have intensity when you've had a full week to train? Preparation for one game against, let's be honest, a poor Everton side, and you were out-fought from the first whistle. We got out of jail completely against Everton. And there's nobody convincing me otherwise. Amorim on criticism. I understand all the criticism. If you watch the game, you have to try and change that. So he's talking about the critique that came with the Everton performance. He gets it. He's calling it as everybody else is calling it. He's saying there pretty much to me. And it's up to him and the players to change this. That's what he's saying. And I feel like... excuse me. I feel like it's good saying it, but nobody's convinced because we don't see any change on the pitch. And that's where I'm at with what Ruben's saying there with that. I don't believe that anybody's convinced by what he's saying right now. And ultimately, whichever way you look at it, Ruben Amorim right now is past talking. Nobody is going to believe anything that he's saying any more than what he has done before until we start seeing things change on the pitch. That's where it's at. And he has been asked about the redundancies and what's happened at the club as well. And this is what he said. That is clear, and we have to, of course, address all the problems in the club. But one important piece of this moment is to understand how we get the situation, and it has a lot to do with the lack of success of the football team. We are the engine. I just want to help improve the team, improve the players to have success. So avoiding the question completely and saying, all I can do to help them people at Manchester United and the situation in the football club is to make the first team better. He is the driving force. They are the engine. They are what brings the money to the football club. The success of the football team determines what happens to everybody at Manchester United. That's basically what Ruben Amorim is saying there. Very cleverly sidestepped it. It's pretty much what he did last time when asked a similar question. This team is responsible for all of the redundancies, the environment around Old Trafford, the environment around Carrington, people losing their jobs, favourites at the club that are losing their jobs, people that have been there for years, is all down to success on the pitch. Because, like we've said before, if the football is better, if the football is successful and we're winning games, everything else falls into place around Manchester United. When United are losing, you have this avalanche of negativity and chaos, which is what is happening right now. That's Manchester United in a nutshell. And Ruben knows it. He knows it and sees it. More from Ruben on redundancies and the current situation. Excuse me. Sorry about that, everybody. It's always hard for everybody. They see their friends and teammates losing their job. Again, we have to focus on what I can do to help the club in this moment, and we as a club have to understand what we did wrong to get to this situation. We have to think of solutions in this moment. It's hard enough in terms of winning games. We know this year was really hard for everybody, and we did, as a club, a lot of changes. And when you are doing the changes, if you have a football team that is doing well and winning games in a certain way, it's easier for the fans to feel the changes. So basically saying, look, if we were winning games like I just said then, everybody feels like there is improvements coming, and they can get behind improvements because they can see things changing on the pitch. If it's crap and the football's shocking, and like we just said before, fans are picking up tickets for the Arsenal game, one of the biggest games in the Premier League history, and you're getting tickets on open sale for that at United, you know that the football's crap. You know there's a problem at this football club. But in this moment, we are in a different period inside the club and inside the pitch. We have to fight against this feeling, and we are trying our best in this moment. So, again, going down the football road. And that basically is all he can say. There's nothing else he can say about it. There's nothing that he can do from what Ineos is doing. He's just an employee, like I said. And he understands that he could be the one with his head on the block next season again. I fully think that's what he's talking in, and has that at the back of his mind. Feel for Amorim for having to answer about the job losses. CEO should be up there taking accountability. They never do, though, mate. RP. Hey, was Paul 88. Part of me want all the good players to come to United to bring back these golden days, but the other part of me, where's the players and playing on the owners would want United to be relegated and sold. So you want good players to come in so we can get successful, but that keeps the ownership there. If we don't bring them players in and we're not successful, it may be short-term pain in terms of relegation, but we would ultimately be getting rid of the biggest headache and problem at this football club, which is the owners. I get it, Paul, mate. I do. Hi, Adam. As good as it would be to have Osimhen at United, the cost is a bit on the high side, and I cannot see him coming without the promise of European football. I expect he will go elsewhere. Well, this is what I think we've all been discussing throughout the show. We are talking about Ruben's comments from the press conference right now, but that has actually wrapped up. There will be an embargoed version, which we're probably going to hear maybe later tonight, going into tomorrow morning, which I will bring you, of course. But there are all the quotes from Ruben Amorim's first part of his press conference. He has kind of been thrown under the bus by the club a little bit with this, because he's having to answer questions on subjects that are really hurting at Manchester United right now, and I feel like that isn't fair on him, but he is the only one that is going to front and talk about these things, and that, unfortunately for him, is part of the job at United, and it's an impossible one at that. It really is. But just to round up everything, we've been talking about Osimhen, we've been talking about Ineos and everything that's going on at the club after that meeting with staff. And yeah, whichever way you look at it right now, it's not a happy place. It isn't. Osimhen, do you believe he's going to come in? Get your comments in below when the live is finished. Is this a deal that you can see happening with what's been said? Apparently a tier 1 journalist in Turkey has said that Osimhen wants Manchester United. He only wants United. I'm not fully convinced. I am not fully convinced, but we will see, and we will find out in time. Right now, the only thing that we should be concentrating on is getting behind Ruben Amorim and getting this team playing football again. and hopefully we can get that. Who we will play in that Ipswich game, I do not know. But for now, that is it. We'll have more on that later on this evening as well in the evening show, everybody. That's going to be around about 6 o'clock tonight, everyone, so make sure you're tuned in for that. Until then, that is it. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everyone. I'll see you all later on. That was your press conference and all up-to-date news around Manchester United in one live show. Get your comments in below on everything that we've discussed in the show. Let me know how you feel about it all, and we'll take it from there.